In 2001, I and several friends sailed my 42-foot ketch, Sarah, from the Chesapeake Bay to Bermuda and back. This video is a record of that cruise. The crew for the cruise from the Chesapeake Bay to Bermuda consisted of Mike and his daughter Elizabeth, Dick, Steve, and myself. Our departure was planned for Sunday, June 24th. On Friday, our crew assembled at the Town Creek Landing Marina on the Patuxent River. I had purchased Sarah over the winter of 2000, and she was still equipped pretty much as when transferred to my ownership. The only major upgrade I made in the last year was an autopilot. Also, the engine had undergone several major maintenance tasks. Both of these items would be very important to this cruise. On Saturday, we completed provisioning for the trip, and all of the lockers on Sarah were filled with supplies. The most significant factor that would affect the duration and comfort of this cruise was the weather that we would encounter en route. This is the NOAA surface analysis for the Western Atlantic Ocean for 0000 Greenwich time, which is 2000 or 8 p.m. on the night before our departure. The analysis shows a weak cold front moving off the coast that evening. This should bring light to moderate northerly winds and settled weather for our first day in the ocean. We departed the marina around noon on the 24th. After stopping in Solomons, Maryland to fill our fuel tanks, we were headed down the Chesapeake Bay and the entrance to the ocean about 100 nautical miles to the south. With a light northerly wind, we were able to sail under spinnaker for the initial few miles down the bay. However, the wind did not last, and before sunset, the engine came on. Shortly after sunrise, we had the Bay Bridge Tunnel Complex and the entrance to the bay in sight. Since we had motored all night, we elected to put into Little Creek, Virginia, to replace the fuel that had been consumed. This turned out to be a very good decision. The weather chart for that morning showed that the frontal system had moved offshore and was weakening. We should have fair weather and light to moderate winds pushing us to Bermuda, over 600 nautical miles to the east-southeast. As we slowly sailed away from the coast, we became very much aware that this was the U.S. Navy's pond. We had naval warships in our vicinity for the entire day. The light winds made for steady, if not fast, progress towards Bermuda. Before nightfall, the winds died, and I elected to turn on the engine. For the first, but not the last time, I started to be concerned we might run out of fuel before we arrived in Bermuda. For the remainder of this leg, we would have to manage the risk of running out of fuel against the need to make progress towards Bermuda. The weather chart for that evening showed the continuing weakening of the frontal system. Although we were able to resume sailing that night, the weather chart indicated several more days of light winds ahead. As we neared the Gulf Stream, we were joined by a school of dolphins. By that evening, the frontal system had all but dissipated, and high pressure was building over the area. For the remainder of the trip, we sailed whenever possible and motored as little as possible. The weather chart for the next evening showed little promise of wind. One of the key instruments we had on board was the single sideband high-frequency radio, the large gray box directly underneath the electrical panel. This radio allowed us to talk to shore stations, send and receive emails that included weather data. Whatever progress we were now making under sail was thanks to the spinnaker, the only new sail I had added to Sarah's inventory. more slow going for another day.
Good afternoon, Herb.
Each afternoon I contacted Herb Helgenberg on the single sideband radio to get his input on the weather and the best routing to Bermuda. Although I was receiving weather charts, I used Herb's analysis and recommendation to help find what little wind there might be.
From the northwest, pressure is 1018 millibars.
Okay, now 33, 34 north and 67, 28 west puts you kind of right in the middle of this, what I would call cold eddy. Let me ask you, what are your currents, if any, over?
Herb, we haven't perceived any currents. We might be getting a little push. Unfortunately, I don't have a reliable knot meter to kind of differentiate with the GPS to see what sort of pushes we're getting. But we're certainly not getting set to one side or the other of our course. We're steering right now directly for Bermuda.
Okay, that's why I think you may just want to try and push a little bit further south. You want to get across that line. You want to get across that line, maybe to near 33 north, due north. Go due south. Go due south, 33 north, 67, 30 west. To get south of that line, and that should get you into a bit of a southeasterly set. Once you get there, otherwise, same conditions. The winds will very likely tomorrow be somewhat variable, probably southerly as well in the morning, and they could take on a more south to southeasterly direction later tomorrow afternoon evening time frame, given that I think the ridge will lie close to Bermuda, slightly north but near Bermuda. I hate to Sunday and Monday, so it's going to be light going, but the winds will probably be between south, southwest to south, southeast as you ride along that ridge. The main thing I think is to hopefully get a bit of a favorable current, and you might get that if you push a little bit further south right now for about 30 miles, then make your turn to Bermuda instead of trying to make the turn now, because if you make the turn now, you could put yourself into some pretty strong head current as you get to near between 67 and 66 degree west, north of 33 degree north. Over.
Roger, we understand. Go ahead and take a dive to the south now to avoid that current that would set us back to the west.
Roger, roger. Other than that, nothing too much around. Have a good watch.
Thanks again, Herb. This is Sarah standing by.
Okay, well, fine, brother.
While waiting for a little wind and trying not to turn on the engine, several of the crew decided it was a good time for a swim. By the 30th of June, we were approaching Bermuda. We had emptied the jerry cans of fuel kept on deck into the main tank, so we no longer had a reserve. It was not clear we had enough fuel to motor the remaining distance. I decided to keep using the engine until we reached a critical fuel level necessary to enter the harbor at Bermuda. On this, we hoped would be our last full day at sea. My crew decided the cockpit needed protection from the sun. They used my spare bed sheets to rig a temporary bimini. I thought they'd turn my cockpit into a Bedouin village.
Refrigerator on the bow, dryer on the side deck here.
Right.
You gotta get yourself that windsurf board, aka surfboards, then you'll be all set. A couple more jerry cans.
Yeah, lots more jerry cans.
You have to make
How about a couple of tires hung on the side?
that's even better.
Yeah, we'd rather have tractor wheels so we can cut them behind. We're anticipating docking. Yep. We're all good. But English is we're gonna have tractor wheels. Somebody's taking note of these.
Believe me, they are.
That evening, we were less than 30 nautical miles from the island. Our fuel level was rapidly approaching that critical level. During the night, shortly after we had sighted the Gibbs Hill light on the west end of Bermuda, Mike noticed that we had picked up a little wind. He and I raised sails and shut down the engine. We were able to sail until we were off the town cut entrance to the harbor. As we approached the island, we had to navigate the reefs that stretched well to the north and west of Bermuda. The reefs are well marked and easily navigated in fair weather. The first mark to pick up is the North Rock, then the Northeast Breakers. Once off Kitchen Shoals, we could turn towards the harbor. We went past Mills Breaker Ledge Light to the Spit Buoy, and finally, Town Cut. tied Sarah to the customs dock on Ordnance Island and waited for the office to open. And waited. And waited. This was Sunday, and there had been a big reggae concert in Hamilton last night. The slightly hungover customs agent showed up around 9 a.m. and quickly cleared us in. Then we refueled Sarah and moved down the island to Hamilton. For some reason, I have very little memory of this short trip. Maybe it was the 2 dark and stormies I chugged in St. George's. Or maybe it was getting no sleep in the last 36 hours, worrying about the fuel supply. Mike was able to get us a reservation at the Royal Bermuda Yacht Club for the 6 days we spent on the island. The only significant equipment failure we experienced on this leg was the seizing of the refrigeration compressor. We attempted to get the compressor repaired in Bermuda with no joy. For the sail back to the USA, we would have fresh food for only as long as ice would last. After that, it would be canned food and warm beer. We remained on Bermuda for 6 days and then departed on the return sail to the Chesapeake Bay. That return trip is covered by a separate video.